Welcome to Contemplative Living, where we view contemplations for the week to have a better understanding of our spiritual paths. This is Contemplative Living with Dave Bennett, contemplations and reflective meditations. Welcome to another Contemplative Living, where we talk about concepts to bring contemplative living into our daily lives. Now, I like to, that's why that doesn't work. So, I'd like to read a little something to start off today. In a position of utter desolation, when man cannot express himself in positive action, when his only achievement may consist in enduring his suffering in the right way, an honorable way. In such a position, man can, through loving contemplation of the image he carries of his beloved, achieve fulfillment. That was written by Viktor Frankl. And what does he mean? Well, when we are living in utter desolation, as he calls it, or just in a way where we are plodding along in life and we're enduring life. We're not really, we're just enduring life. When we're living this way, we can still be honorable. We can still live a right way, as he calls it, and through contemplation. And he also mentions through contemplation of the image of the beloved. Now, a lot of scholars, spiritual scholars, think of the beloved as the divine within us. And so today, I thought that was appropriate to start us off because I want to talk about our relationship with the divine. And so deep within is a motivation to run with spirit. Understand your relationship with the divine. We have this drive within us to know our spiritual selves. And in that process of reaching out to touch the divine, we open up the doorway within ourselves. Because in order to touch oneness, to touch what we may perceive as God, Goddess, all that is, in order to do that, we have to do it within ourselves because we're living in this physical body. And in living within this physical body, we feel like we're separate individuals. We've talked about that in past weeks, but we know that we aren't, that is just a shadow, and that it's an illusion, and that the reality is that we're connected with the divine oneness. Many experiencers will talk about this because they've experienced that oneness, and they realize that we're always connected. We're always connected through love. And so we understand the relationship of our individuality to a higher power because we let go of the limitations of our isolated, separate ego self to gain a connection to our higher self. So what I'm saying here is we understand that there's an individuality here and that there's a higher power, but and I also understand that we need to let go. Sounds simple, Sounds very simple, but it's the releasing of our ego self, of our separate self, and allowing that connection to develop is how we develop that power within ourselves. Now, I see we have a lot of shout outs. I want to give some shout outs to folks. Good morning, Shirley. How are you doing? Jean, it's good to see you here. Good morning. Gail, good to see you here. And Jill, good morning. Travis, hey, how you doing? Wow, a lot of folks here today. Justine and Dennis. Thank you. Thanks for being here. Um, so to understand that relationship, our relationship with the divine, we want to let go of that ego self so that we can touch that divine. And it may start out as a simple little, just a feeling of embraced, being embraced, a feeling of love, a feeling of just centeredness. Many times that's how it may start. And so, okay, so moving on, we move into deeper levels of self realization. Simply, it is awareness, being aware of itself. So, we talked about letting go, but we want to move and touching it, but now we want to move into deeper levels of self realization. And using our awareness is the greatest tool that we have for our self realization, because awareness is just allowing yourself to perceive your greater self. It may sound a little confusing, it may sound a little redundant, but it's actually quite simple. When we allow ourselves to just see who we are internally, stillness is the best tool that I've ever found for doing this. Sometimes walking meditation allows me to connect with that inner being that's within us all. But we are connected to the infinite power of creation and feel the support of the universe within us. That's the big benefit of all this work, of trying to live a contemplative life, of trying to connect with our inner being, is to feel that support, because we are loved. If the one thing that the message that I got on the other side, and I continue to receive, is that we are loved. And that support can buoy us up to achieve whatever we need to achieve. It's very powerful to know that you're supported and that the universe has your back. It's hard, so hard in today's life with so much of the circumstances that come at us from every direction, to feel supported. Even though we may have family and friends that are there for us, we still feel alone and isolated. But that's why we want to make this connection to our own divine essence. Um, do not allow yourself to be locked up inside. Bring yourself into the world like a light from a window. Now, here I'm talking about being locked up in that separateness, being locked up as an isolated, separate individual. Don't allow yourself to be locked up like that. Be in the world like a light, and that's shining your light like a beacon out into the world. We don't we don't really feel like we're doing that very often. But it's when and I find that when inspiration strikes, that's when I feel like my inner light is really shining. Or when I'm in that creative space. I like to go into my wood shop. And in fact, Sundays is one of my sacred times to go into the shop and spend a little bit of time with my creative endeavors. And when doing that, I feel my light brightening, and it becomes that beacon within me, and it helps strengthen me to be that person that I want to be. So look for new ideas that point towards unity. Yes, the light will show us our way, but all around us, many times we're given clues, because we need to work together. We need to create communities of compassionate beings that are working toward common goals that are for the benefit of everyone, not just the individual. And many times we get caught up with we get carried along with the circumstances. And so I encourage you to develop this relationship with your inner being, so that you can shine that light into all your endeavors, into all of your aspects of life. It's one of the things that really brings joy into life, is when you can bring your light into your activities, into your interactions. And while you're doing that, you can feel that support. You can feel that love of the universe reaching out and just supporting you, giving you a warm embrace of love. I hope you find this helpful, and I hope you have a beautiful week up ahead. Namaste.